Hi, I'm going to teach you ARDELA programming. So let me start a new file, and into that new file, I shall now insert a new class to receive the code which I'm going to write. So I'll write one class and I'll call it code. What else? And into this class, I'll create one object, and that's a place where I will so use the create menu, create a new object. I'll say cd1 and I'll say give some value to it 0 0.0 0 point. It actually doesn't matter. This object is not really an architectural object. It is just to meant to receive some code. So I'll close that. Into this, I'll start my Ardela programming. I'll go into the self code part of it. What I did is that I right clicked here and then I got the menu, and from there I got this here, and I'll start a special word called run. And in that, I'll just make one small test. I'll write the first line of a old song, Robinson Messina song. So I'll say, "Hello, Mary Lou, and goodbye, heart," and I'll see whether this works. Then inside this Ardela plugins, there's one special plugin called Run Int, which is basically a run interpreter. What this does is that it exposes the Ardela interpreter, and it will go searching for that particular magic word called run, which is the predicate from which it will start. I'm not getting into the actual details of how Ardela works. It works exactly like Prolog. I'll talk about the concepts later. Right now, just try to understand this thing mechanically rather than conceptually. So here it is. It successfully ran that, and it wrote down this first line of that old song. Hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. Okay, good. So it is um, solved the first kind of milestone. Let me go over what I did. I wrote this magic word called run. I put a semicolon, sorry, colon and dash, not semicolon, colon and dash. Then I wrote this write, hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. That is put in quotation marks. That is technically in programming languages, it's called a string, something which has to be written and understood as a set of words, usually English spoken words or whatever language which you use. And then I put a comma after that and an exclamation mark after that and a dot after that. So this what it did is that it the interpreter, this run int, went up till here, picked up this line and say, okay, let me go and execute that. And that's how it wrote that particular statement, hello Mary Lou, goodbye heart. Now, let me expand on this particular program and I'll ask it to start understanding which all objects here has got marble flooring. So let me go to the model. This is how the model looks like. It's just one room with a chaja in that. This is the default file. Now you can see the shade of the doorway over there. Now I'll say that that particular doorway happens to have marble. So let me locate that doorway. So there it is. I right click on that. I say edit object Ardela, and I'll invent one property for that. I'll say has flooring. Write has floor. I could write has FLR. It's up to you what you write, what invention you want to give for that. That's up to you. So has flooring sounds as a reasonable choice, and I write all this, which basically says that this particular object, this at the rate sign indicates that particular object wherever it is. It happens to have marble as a flooring. So has flooring, this has marble. So it's something like English, and I confirm this. I'll go back to my code and I want to now right click edit object Adla. Now I'll say let me assume there exists a fact in the system where there is some class and some object which has a particular object. So this class name and object name is what it is searching for, and it has a flooring of marble. That is what it's searching for. And then I write a built-in predicate called format string, and in that I say message. I say this has marble. Sorry, and in square brackets I say class name. I have to be very careful about the capitalization. It is case sensitive, so you have to be very careful there. and I say it has marble, and I don't write this song anymore. And instead, I'll use that variable I used there. I say write that message which it is formatted. Okay, so now let's see whether it is done that. I confirm this, and it says, wow, there it is. It says first floor doorway has marble. Great. So it is found out from all the objects which is there that it is this first floor doorway which happens to have marble. Now let me go and give marble to one more object, which is this room over here. And there too, I go right click, edit object ARDELA, self code. I say has flooring. I use the same capitalization and everything. And I say marble here also. When I run this interpreter, what it does is, oh, it didn't tell me that about the second object. It told me only about doorway. So that let me make a small change to that code. I come to this code, I right click, and I say that, okay, you told me about one, but there could be others. So why don't you fail and go check this once again? Maybe you'll find something else also, which is what it will do. And in Prolog, I'll put a catch-all kind of predicate here, which will say right here, thanks, that's all for the marble flooring here. Something like that, some clever message to end the whole thing. Okay, and I say this, confirm this, and I run that interpreter. It says, yes, I got it. First floor doorway has marble, first floor simple room has marble, and thanks, that's all the marble flooring here. Whatever the message you want to give. Now, let me do something more practical. I want to actually calculate the area of the marble, and I want to total up the total area. So this becomes a nice little quantity calculator. So what I'll do is I'll say write this message all right, and I'll say add up area of class name object name. So I want to add up those areas into one a kind of a temporary store somewhere, and I'll say get me the list of points. So there's a built-in predicate for that. Uh, class name, object name, and there are additional stuff which it gives, which I don't need. I just need the points of that particular polygon, and say poly area. Give me the area of that polygon. So it gives me area 1, but it could be negative. This area, when it calculates the area of that polygon, it could be positive or negative. So I have to make it positive always, otherwise that could be a logical error. And say it's a total up area 2. Now what I'll do is I will make this absolute a is a if a is greater than 0. So I don't do anything there, but abs a2 a2 is a multiplied by minus 1. So what this does is that it makes sure that the area is always positive. Now I have to define what is total up. So I will write total up. Total up of an area would be, say, I will say that go to the storage area and retract from it. It's like putting up something on a shelf, and I'll say last area, whatever, and I say new next area is AR plus whatever, and say assert that, put it back onto the shelf. So it's like removing something from the shelf, finding out what is there inside it, and then putting up the next area back onto the shelf. So this is how it is storing that data. But I have to have a situation where the shelf itself is not ready. So I'll say, I'll just copy and paste that. So Control C, Control V, and I say AR. So basically what this does is, in case nothing is there on the shelf, it will seed it with the first value. And if there's something already, some whatever area which is there on the shelf, it will pick it up, then add the new area which is asking to total up, and put it back on the shelf. At the end of it, it will total up everything. Now what I'll do is, I'll come to this last clause of this particular run, the second clause. body, and I'll write total. Sorry, what was it called? Last area. Last area total. That was the total, and I'll say format string total marble area is sorry is percentage, and I say total square bracket, uh, and that's it. I think I have got it all right. Let me just check everything. The scale sensitivity and all has to be checked. So it is last area. It is last area. Fine. Seems fine. Now I'll say confirm edit. Now I come here, run this. Something it's not able to do it. So it says somewhere it says something is missing. Some problem is there. So I think some syntax error has happened. Total up, assert last area, the absolute area 1, area 2, points, poly area, total up. Somewhere I think I made a mistake somewhere. It says add up area. Oh, that's name, object name, points area 1, add up area. Here is the spelling mistake. Area is not adding up properly. Something is missing somewhere. Result. Last area, whatever. There's an error somewhere because of which it is not fully executing this. Where is that error? Let's see that error. Let us catch that error. Area. Area. Last name, object name. Its sensitivity is correct. Usually it fails because if you use, say for example, if I used here like this and here it is with capital, it could have failed. That doesn't seem to be the case here. Add up area, last area total. Oh, this format string was wrong. I'm sorry. So there has to be M here, and I have to write here, write M. Otherwise, what is it going to write anyway? So this was error. I didn't call that built-in predicate correctly. It has three parameters. The first one is the variable to which the particular sentence is written, and second is the formatting which I need to do, and the third is the values to be put into that formatting. That was the error. So I do this and I run this. There it is. It has got first floor marble, simple room also has marble, and the total marble area is so much. You want some more niceties, you can write square meters and all that. So I will come here back and I'll write here area is square meters. From that, if I now run this, it will say total marble area is so and so. Now, let me make this more interesting. I don't want to go around labeling each and every object which has got marble and say that it has got marble, it has flooring marble, flooring marble. Instead, what I'll do is I will invent a class and say marble floored. Okay, and I'll drag these two objects which has got marble into that. Okay, so this simple room and that doorway, I drag it into this class. If you see that dragging doesn't mean that the object has got dragged, it has changed its classification. It has gone into this subclass called marble float. Now I will remove this particular I don't need to write it at that object level. I'll remove it from here. I erased it. I actually put it into the clipboard. I remove it from here also, and now there's no marble. Actually, now if you run this, it will actually not show anything. It will say there's some errors. Basically, they can't find out anything which has got marble, so it won't work. So now what I'll do is that I'll go to this marble flooring and write the Ardella for the class and not for the object. So in this, I will write that and I'll confirm this. Now, if I run it, it will again give me the area. So it says it's the same value which I got earlier. But what is the difference is that I actually told at the class level, I put the information at the class level. The Ardela is at the class level, not at the object level. And I put it under inheritable. So it actually went and gave that property to doorway also and simple room also. The beauty of this is that if I get in a new object here later, let me put another object here. Let me put one object, somewhere here, and I say create and say more marble or something like that. Sorry, create a new object. I call it or whatever, and I give it zero point 0.5 meters by zero point 0.5 meters. Or let me make it 1 meter by 1 meter. So the area is additionally 1 square meter. So it was 8 something something. Now it will become 9 something something. Now, what is this MM? MM is also put into the same class called marble float. Did I give any ARDELA property for this? No. The ARDELA property to picked it up from marble float. And there the ARDELA properties, as I showed you here, it's got marble. So now if I run this, you'll see something like 9 square meters. There it is. So it's actually additionally added that that area of MM also. So it's got three objects. All of them have flooring of uh, marble, and it is the total marble area which is there. Now look at the situation here. Here I have started calculating something about this design. It totals up the total marble area here, and I actually not completely frozen the design. In fact, this particular object does not even have a height or a level. So if I look at the 3D, you will not see any object here because there's nothing to be displayed there. It's just a 2D shape. So 2D shapes are not shown in the 3D, so there's nothing there. But still, I've started doing some calculation. I know there were where the water marble area, which is potentially available in this particular design. So that's how you start using Ardella from very early on, where you can actually query your design and start investigating what is the amount of marble area, or what is the heat which is getting developed there, or what is the amount of sound which is reverberating over there, whatever you believe you need to keep track of. And if you notice, I didn't do any coding beyond just that earlier stuff. And if you were to count the number of lines in that code, it must be something like 20, 25 lines or 28 lines, something like that. If you total up the number of lines with this, uh, I can I have a complete marble flooring calculator. In fact, I can make it more abstract by not really coding this as marble, but I can use the same thing for marble, granite, or whatever other material, and then check for each one separately and give you the area of each one separately. So that's a very short introduction to Ardela without really getting into what Ardela really is. Just to give you a taste of what the flavor of this particular uh, programming is. And this is what happens is that you can actually do a lot of objective analysis as you design in TAD. Thank you so much. I think this should work now.